All right, everyone, we're back. Second part of a two-part episode. We are doing a deep dive into the System of a Down catalog. This episode, we're going to go through their second, arguably breakthrough album, Toxicity. And once again, I'm Jay Horskow. I have with me Tim Anderson Jr. and our regular celebrity guest, Mr. Adam Easterling from the band Orthodox. All right, gentlemen, let's go in. So, Tim, give us the scoop on this album.
All right, so this was released September 4th, 2001, recorded in Cello Studios in Hollywood, California. Also came out on American and Columbia, and like Adam said, the last episode, all of their records came out on there. Also, you guys said Rick Rubin produced all of their records?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then also you have producer credits from Darren and Serge on this record as well. You had 3 singles on this record, Chop Suey, Toxicity, and Aerials. Also, this hit number 1 on the Billboard 200 and in Canada, which is that's pretty cool, actually, to hit it in 2 countries. Also, this was triple platinum certified in 2001.
Think about
that.
I didn't know it went triple.
Think about Jesus that.
Triple. God.
Triple platinum. That's $3 million, right?
Yes. And what's even crazier to me is this sold 220,000 its first week. That is fucking outrageous.
That is
dude.
bonkers.
And then since has sold 2.7 million in the U.S. alone since. That's not counting the world. Huge fucking record, man.
Yeah.
The band said they had 30 songs written for this record and narrowed it down to 14.
It is wild.
I believe Adam talked about this last time when we had him on, when we were just bullshitting about stuff. Did we talk about something about the promotional shows for this record resulting in like
riots, right?
Riot.
Yeah, like 6-hour riot ensued at a free concert in Hollywood at the day before
it was their release show.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
It was a release show, and I think they were only like staffed and able to do like they were expecting. I don't know what the actual numbers are. All I know is that
I think they were expecting like 3, and then like 15 showed up. 1,000.
Yeah, some unreal amount of people showed up for the show, and they canceled the show before System went on and didn't allow System to make a statement.
Oh wow!
And so people rioted, broke down their destroyed their gear, all this stuff, and and then the following week was the day that changed the world for America. So it was crazy times.
And Tim,
exactly a week later,
wasn't Iowa released about the same time?
Yeah, they toured. They toured
with
toured with Slipknot for this record.
Yeah, which was an amazing tour, and I will tell everyone who wasn't there, the show that I saw, Slipknot went on, System went on before Slipknot. It cleared out after System of a Down played, which I was really surprised by.
I think Slipknot's first album did better than System's self-titled, but I think System is still a bigger band.
Yeah.
It's just we talked about that last time, how their Spotify numbers are millions above like Slipknot and Korn, who are still active.
Yeah.
Wow. Granted, they haven't tarnished their reputation by putting out some questionable records, but it's still insane that they haven't put anything out in 15 years since Hypnotize came out 15 years ago, Jay, and and people are still listening to it, some for the first time, and
Yeah, you're right.
I can't believe you haven't listened to Hypnotize.
I've never listened to it all the way through. Adam, in all confession, I probably have heard songs here and there. I have never sat down and said, okay, I'm going to listen to this entire album soup to nuts, and I will do that as homework. But I've never done it.
It is. Oh,
You're going to make me go listen to
for
it
saying
now.
this. It is literally one of the best. I would say Toxicity is kind of like, you can't say that that's not the best one. And I would personally say I like feel this album even a little more because it's even more experimental than Toxicity was. But Hypnotize is probably like, in terms of songwriting, and Jay, you may like it way more because like it's a lot more dialed in. It's a lot more like radio friendly.
Okay.
So it's not near as like sporadic and crazy. There are still some very like crazy songs, but
Okay, I'll
My
check it out.
favorite song, System of a Down song, period, is Soldier Side. It's the last song on Hypnotize. And I don't think they've ever played it live, and I don't think they ever will, but it's
I will check it
an
out.
incredible song.
I will commit to
I
checking
will
it out.
check both of them records out as well at work this week.
So,
All right.
Let me say
go
this real quick. This album, I will say right now, I went back and listened to this one a few more times. I actually enjoy a lot of the songs on this record, so I'm going to be pro on this record with you guys.
Okay. All right.
okay.
Can I start? I'll start it out too. Is that all right?
Yeah, I just want to throw out for those the listeners that didn't catch the last album, one of the big differences in this album is in the self-titled they had 2 tracks for each guitar for every song. This album they maxed out. There were almost 12 tracks for each song, 12 guitar tracks for each song on this album. Another big difference is while the first album was mixed by Dave Sardy, giving it its raw sound, this one was mixed by Andy Wallace, who is a little bit more polished, a little bit more professional.
You can hear it, definitely.
Oh, absolutely. And the other note, we talked about how prolific, we talked about in the last album discussion with Adam, how prolific System of a Down is. So they actually wrote 45 songs for this album. They wrote 45, they recorded 33, and then they only sent 17 down to Andy Wallace. So think about that for a second. 45 songs with an average runtime of 3 minutes because they use the Beatles as an argument, right? That's 135 minutes of audio that they actually wrote and recorded. That is fucking bonkers for an album that's bonkers.
Well, a lot of the songs on here though are pretty short.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
but
still-
you're right though.
105 minutes is borderline too. I mean,
it's a lot of music, which makes the Hypnotized, Mesmerized, all quasi-dual album make more sense because they're prolific at this point. They're just writing. They're writing and they're getting stuff out, and it's actually quality.
What are you drinking? Is that a root beer?
Stewart root beer, baby.
Oh, nice. I love it.
Oh yeah. I knew the bottle would show up, and somebody would be like, "Wait, what the?"
Yeah, what is that? Nah, that's good stuff, man.
Oh yeah.
So
Start us off, Tim.
all right, number 1 Prison song. Dude, I love this song. This is a great track right here. And I'm gonna tell you why. Who's the other guy doing the vocals again? Is it this guitar player?
Guitarist, yeah.
Dude, his vocals add a lot to this band and make me like it a lot more. I don't know. I like his vocals. They're not
You
as
listen to Stars on Broadway.
Oh, is that his other band?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've heard of that band. I've never heard them though. I probably heard a track here or there, but I just didn't know it was them. This is a great song.
Kind of sucks, but
okay.
you'll like the new one. But
this is a great song.
I think his vocals are a little nasally, but when done well, like with Chicken Stew, right, on Steal This Album, when they use him well, it actually offsets Serge's vocal timbre in a way that you can't help but say, this is fucking interesting. This is different.
I think in terms of like, friends of mine call it guitar music, just rock guitar, whatever. Like guitar music world, I don't think there's a better like duet, like harmonizing wise. And it doesn't get better for me than when you get into Mesmerize a couple of years later. They have the song Question, and like the harmony, just the way that their voices just naturally sound together is just it's like it was meant to be there. It is unreal.
So let me ask you this, Adam. Do you think we talked in the last episode about them ever doing another album, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think maybe the ascension of Darren as not only a primary songwriter but also a primary lyricist on a lot of the stuff in like Mesmerize, Hypnotize, do you think that maybe causes some friction? Do you think?
Yes and no, but the only reason he became the primary songwriter was because Serge didn't want to do another album because he had I believe he just settled down, maybe just had a kid or something along those lines, and didn't want to do the like full tour cycle because he wanted to be at home with his family. Which is why he did very minimal touring when he did his solo career things. And so I think that's why Darren took over most of it. because Serge was genuinely reluctant to do it.
Right. He wanted to get a life. He wanted to settle down into a life.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, Adam, he's like something like 8 years older than Darren, right? They knew him through school, but he was an older guy that they just happened to all play together.
Yep, that is correct. He's an older gentleman who also was never really that into metal,
which is pretty wild.
You see that in a lot of bands, man. Like certain members aren't even into it, but they just,
Tim, your boy Chino, he loves fucking Sade and the Deftone and Depeche Mode, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
and the Deftones.
And the Deftones.
Yeah.
Have another beer, Jay. We'll keep going.
I would hope so.
This song, my only note is all uppercase. It just says "monster" with 2 exclamation points.
Yeah, this is a great song, man.
I think I told this story where I picked up this. I went to the WSOU 15th anniversary concert in Newark, New Jersey, and they were handing out promos of this album on the way out. And I put it in my CD player, and the initial guitar, John.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck, is my CD broken? John. Yeah, it's it's just a sickeningly heavy intro. It slaps you in the face, literally slaps you in the face. The lyrics.
I love that badass 2-step they do after that intro part. It's like a 2-step-ish part. I like that a lot, man.
We also covered this song.
Yeah, I saw that in one of your
we covered it as an interlude where we only do like the intro up to the verse, but then there was a whole tour we did. The first time we ever toured Left Behind, we did the whole song, and it's one of those songs where a lot of people think they know the song because the chorus absolutely know that they're trying to build a prison. They're trying to build. You know that. You know that I buy my crack, my smack, my bitch. Everyone knows that part. What people don't know is the part that any singer who ever covers that really hopes they know, and it's the verse, because oh my God, is it hard to do.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. We'll get into that, talking about how Serge sings. His enunciation is perfect, to the point where the lyrics may make absolutely no intelligible sense whatsoever, but the way he enunciates, like we were just talking about IEA, IAIO, right? Where it's Lois Lane, the Clark Kent, you can make out exactly what he's saying. It makes no fucking sense, but you can at least make it out, which is, I put him up there, another guy who enunciates perfectly at speed, Ollie from Archspire, which might be a little bit out of your wheelhouse, Adam. Tim?
Yeah, I don't think I've heard it.
Archspire?
Yeah, Canada.
Yeah. Right? They do brutal death metal, and he enunciates at speed. I'll send you, Adam, the karaoke video of him where they actually show the lyrics across the bottom as he's singing.
I thought you meant somebody else karaoke'd it.
Yeah, fuck that. He's really impressive. But Serge is the same way. You can pick out exactly what he's saying, aside from the Chino noises and the growls. And that, I think, is probably what makes them one of the things that stands out to your ear, is you can actually follow it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I wanted to say this in the last episode to Adam. I just forgot. But from watching your live videos, you can definitely see the new metal influence in your stage presence. I like that, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, you get wild up there, dude. I love when a band gets into their shit and they don't just stand there like fucking slugs, man. But yeah, the stuff you're doing, you're just like, you could tell you're feeling that shit, man. I love it, man.
I appreciate that a lot, because it's definitely not something that just came naturally. It's taken me years I literally got to a point where I finally was just like, all the bands that I like did weird shit, so I'm just gonna look stupid and really own it, and maybe people will like it. And
no, you don't look stupid. You look like you're feeling it, man.
Yeah, and again, we talked about in a previous episode, you have to have something that visually stands out. Like we talked about Code Orange, like they have a look, they have an aesthetic. That's what makes them stand out. Every band needs. If you don't stand out, you're just one of the herd, and it just
Speaking of Code Orange, they just did another live video, not to go off track, and they did an Alice in Chains cover acoustically. Mm-hmm. So sick.
That they are a sneaky talented band.
Very talented.
Oh yeah.
Dude, go. I'll link you guys. It's really sick, man. They did like a whole unplugged kind of little thing.
Yeah, they like ripped off really MTV,
cool,
right?
Yeah, it's really cool.
And they called it Mud Slingers Ball.
I think so.
I don't remember.
Mud Slingers or Mud Bangers, something like that. Because the drummer's whole persona is Mudman.
Oh, okay.
That's like what they're pushing that as the new one now that Jamie's singing.
Oh yeah. I like that he's singing instead of playing drums and singing now. I
The
think
new
he's a good
drummer
front man.
is a way better drummer as well.
He's sick.
Who is it though? It's somebody fairly.
30 Nights of Violence drummer.
That's who it is. Yeah, somebody who's got some notoriety. Yeah.
No, we could talk about that because I just had Kelly on the podcast and we talked about it. It's all right.
Okay, as long as I'm not on the episode where the beans get spilled.
No.
I was told to.
Kelly was I just released it Thursday. He talks about it on there.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, no, that's 30 Nights of Violence drummer. It's Ethan Young, and he is
Yeah.
He actually filled in for Orthodox a couple times as well, and the kid just fucking smashes drums.
Now I have to go back and listen and make sure before these come out, but I'm pretty sure.
Edit.
No,
keep, don't cut this. Just make it one long bleep. Just
yeah.
Adam, if you had to play drums and sing for Orthodox as a fill-in into tour, could you do it?
Nope.
No.
I can't even play the new some of the new stuff is too fast for me. I wrote a lot of it, but it was like written on a computer, and I literally was like, fuck you, sorry, Mike. Like, good luck. And he can do it.
No,
I can play drums pretty well, but he does. There's things on this album that are just so, on the last album, that are just so weird. I've also, it's just not, my brain doesn't work that way. I couldn't play drums and hold a conversation. So like, people that can do that, it's a totally different, it's hard enough to be able to have your limbs be independent, but then to like break your brain apart from that.
Right.
It's just, it's so wild.
Right.
Yeah, your drummer doesn't even look like it phases him, honestly.
He'll love to hear that.
He just shreds, dude.
Dude, I'll have to send you this picture. I'll just do it now while we're sitting here fucking talking.
Yeah,
I would mess with him all the time when we were on this last tour, just because like we've gotten to a point where I'm like, I just want to have fun on stage with you guys. And so during certain parts, I would like reach up and like grab his cymbal whenever it wasn't supposed to catch or some shit. And one point I like actually really fucked him up. And he just looked like it messed up, and he just looks at me and does this because he like recovered. And I just went,
oops.
There's literally Cam, our photographer, Cam Smith, caught the perfect moment. If I can just, where is it? I know it's in here. Oh, wait, is that it? Yep. Hold on. Here, I'll just, since this is live television, I'll just put it on the screen here.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah, it is perfect.
Yeah, it is perfect.
So, yeah, Mike crushes it. I could not do that kind of playing. And even like the all of the Code Orange albums up to this point has been.
How does he do it? Yeah, makes you really.
Yeah, I don't know. It's unreal.
Sick drummer, dude.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, so let's get back on. Let's get back to the.
Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, it's funny, Jay. You're gonna be surprised on this one because I know I said before, like,
okay.
like the album before this is just kind of unlistenable at this point for me. But this record, like, if I heard it again, I would not be bothered. I'll just say that.
I mean,
like,
there's some really good songs on this album.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, now you understand why they became so popular. You understand why it sold like 11 million albums.
Yeah,
because there's some, and again, I think this is. I know he writes a lot of their stuff. I think this is Darren maturing as a songwriter, right? He's trying to hit that 3-minute mark. He's trying to get in, hit the songs, and move out. And it's just comparatively, as much as I really like the first album, this album, they really come into their own. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Can I take like 2 minutes to handle something real quick and be right back?
Absolutely.
Can we like
no worries, man.
Okay,
No
I'll
worries.
be right back.
Absolutely. Yeah. You could definitely see the maturity go up because I kind of feel like in the first one, like, and I'm only, I'm definitely goofing when I say Ace Ventura metal, but to me, when I watch like Ace Ventura, he does all that goofy vocalizations and shit, which, don't get me wrong, is why the movie and Jim Carrey was so fucking popular and all that shit. So I appreciate what he's doing, and I appreciate the whole he's Armenian and he's different, and he's got the the voice accents and all that
Mhm.
stuff, which is cool. I just can't get into it. It's kind of like when like Will Ferrell does like weird stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he has a fine line, Will Ferrell, where he tips over from this guy's enjoyable, he's funny, to like, oh Christ, like this is just too much. Like he gets to be too much. Yeah.
And that's exactly how I feel about that first record. It's just some songs are like, I'm like, okay, it's grooving, it's heavy, and then it's just like, come on, dude.
Yeah,
That's
he
too
comes in with the
much.
weird, and you're like, what is this? Yeah. No, I get it.
And then you go back to when people are talking about Deftones and when Chino does the cat stuff, and I understand why people hate that band. I
but
get
it
it,
fits.
but
It fits.
yeah. I mean, I get it, man. I just think it's funny how like mad people get when they're like, "You fucking hate this band," and I'm like, "Yes, dude." Like
They're definitely and I'm gonna beat this dead horse again because I've hit it before in previous episodes. The one defining characteristic of nu metal is there is no construct to meet when it comes to nu metal. Everybody did their own thing, and that's what made it so cool. And not to be one of these old people, Tim, that sits here and reminisces about the good old days, but I think you would agree with me. That was one of the cool parts about nu metal when it was the thing, because there was so many different bands. You could see 4 bands on a bill and not know what you're actually walking into.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the show we always talk about: Amen, Machine Head, Slipknot, Cold Chamber.
Yep.
Pretty much 4 different bands. Amen's more of the radio version. Then you got Slipknot was just, the
This was them,
kick
Monster,
your ass.
yeah.
Machine Head's the groove Pantera ripoff at the time, and then Cold Chamber's just a generic, rare, huge band.
I don't remember what album for Cold Chamber was that. Was that
Self-Titled or
no? It was the second one. What was the second one?
Chamber Music.
Chamber Music. That was it.
Very good record. We got to do a deep dive on them, man.
I left before they went on stage. I don't know why. Oh, you know why? Because I was up at the fucking Roseland in New York City. I had to come back to here. And it's, you got to take the path you got to take the Patco or path to Hoboken and then hoof back. It was terrible. I think we should do that. I also think we should pick a random nu metal album and do a deep dive. Maybe we get Adam and a couple other people in on it. Like we'll just grab a random band and a random album and say, okay, Factory 81 Mankind or 5.0 Self-Titled. Everybody listen to it and let's come back and compare notes.
Yeah, you could do that.
Are we going to put this in the show?
Yeah, I was just going to say we should.
I was thinking, fuck it, we'll just put it in the show. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So track number 2, Needles, 3 minutes, 14 seconds. My note here is worthy follow-up to Prison Song. Really heavy and in the same vein.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine, dude. So we bullshitted for a couple minutes, but then we went into Needles. But you walked in at the perfect time. So I'll you know what? Jay, say again what you just said.
I said Needles is the perfect follow-on to Prison Song. Hits the same vein, but just isn't as – it's good, but it's not as heavy.
I actually enjoy this track as well. Great. I actually like the lyrics on this track, too. This is not a bad track at all. These 2 songs were very surprising to me. I do want to know why he's talking about pulling tapeworms out of his ass or something. I do want to know what that's about.
To my knowledge, tapeworm is metaphoric for either, like, because he even says, pull the tapeworm out of me. And then, I'm sitting in a room, needle in my hand, waiting for writing for the tomb of some old dying man. And then it says my tapeworm tells me what to do, all that kind of stuff. I think it's kind of just like pull the tapeworm out of your ass metaphor for like just own up to what you're doing. Okay. Is either that or it's the other thing that I was mentioning is like you're being controlled. Like the whole thing is like you are, and it's talking about sitting in my room with a needle in my hand. Like it could all be substance abuse related, or it could even be traced back to like the music industry of like, I'm sitting here writing some like writing something for some dying person. Like it could just be a metaphor for artistry and how, you know, what does he say? I cannot disguise all the stomach pains and the walking of the canes. When you come out and you whisper up to me in your life a tragedy, I cannot grow till you eat the last of me, and then I will be free.
There's
And
definitely some substance abuse stuff in there, right?
Yeah.
Because like we all know the opioid addiction, it leads to be honest here, it leads to constipation. It leads to all sorts of bowel problems. So good.
No thanks.
It's a good song though. Like I mean, again, they maintain their. I don't want to use the word zany because zany comes across like, hey, it's a pizza party. But they maintain their uniqueness from the last album into this one.
This song sounds like it could like the chorus and the post-chorus could almost be like an oi song. Like it's like weird, like punk. Almost.
Yeah, when he's saying like, hey, after everything.
Hey, like,
hey.
Yeah. And then it goes into the dun 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 dun. Like it's very punky. Which Darren Malakian's even gone on record saying like they're not like somebody asked him what kind of band they were and he was like, we're kind of just a punk metal band. And he even mentions hardcore in it and like things like that. So like they were definitely a part of that scene, which is where it's funny how much bigger it got obviously, but there's definitely a lot of influence you can hear there with that particular beat.
And so track number 2, right? So we're off to a great start. Then we're going to go to track number 3, Deer Dance, 2:55.
No, I'm not a fan of this one.
What?
I didn't like this one.
Oh my God.
I knew you. I was waiting.
I think I knew Adam was a fan of this. I have notes here.
This is the heaviest System of a Down song in existence.
I have notes that it's overtly political to the point where you can't miss it. The rolled R's for me really stand out. And then the background vocals stand out for me as well.
I just like, especially in today's time, the whole thing is about the police pushing protesters around and like being like abusing their power and, you know, abusing authority, having no fear of consequence, you know, pushing little, it says circumventing circuses, lamenting in protest to visible police, presence-sponsored fear, battalions of riot police with rubber bullet kisses, baton courtesy serviced with a smile. Like, that is...
So this was written, what, how many years ago, Adam?
19 years ago. Well, and it's written probably 20 years ago.
And it's still relevant. And it's relevant now more than ever, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, and then also just like the chorus, pushing little children with their fully automatics. They like to push the weak around.
I will say I do like the chorus of this song, though.
Yeah.
The lyrics are good in this track. As much as I talk about his singing, he does write very good lyrics.
Yeah.
It's also one of the only songs on the album where they take a heavy part and actually do a true halftime of the riff. Because you have the dun 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 dun, and then eventually at the end it goes into dun 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 dun. Like it actually breaks it all the way down, which they don't do that often.
Yeah, this song has some of that like circusy kind of sound to it. To me, that's one reason I didn't really dig this one. But I do see what you're saying. Like the chorus is very heavy. I can see the circusy thing because it has that harmonic that's reoccurring in the verses. Yeah. It's the verse part. Yeah, exactly. That's the part that I just didn't really dig. But
so, if you look at in terms of album sequencing, right? You have Prison Song, you have Needles, you have this, right? Which fits, and then they go into fucking Jet Pilot, which the only note I have here is all lowercase with a couple of exclamation points, and it says "fucking bonkers." What am I listening to? That's my actual note here because it's nuts, right? Wired or the eyes of the horse
on a Jet Pilot. On
a Jet Pilot, as he smiled as he flew over the bay, like what the fuck, right?
Yeah, and then it refers to my horse as a shackled old man. His remorse was that he couldn't survey the skies right before they went gray. I'm assuming it's about a fighter pilot dropping bombs. You know, sky went gray, smoke.
Mm-hmm.
My horse is a shackled old man, somebody that's tied to the military. One that smiled when he flew over the bay must meant he was happy to kill.
And this is where it goes
Focus on
into,
a
what is
target.
it, Adam? The not the chorus, but the actual verse. It's almost like a bouncy sort of, not a waltz, but it's kind of like a I don't even know what the word I'm looking for.
It's a samba beat. It's a
Yes.
Yeah, it's a true samba beat, which
What is-
is but it's crazy because if you were to play that guitar not like softly, that part is heavy. It's
Yes.
dun, 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 dun. Like that's a heavy riff.
What did you think, Tim? What do your notes say?
In Jet Pilot,
Yeah.
this one, I wrote on this one that I just really like the riffs in this one, and I actually kind of like the vocals in this song. I actually think it's a decent song. It didn't really bother me at all. Like I was saying when you were doing whatever, it's not like I keep saying, they're a very talented band. I get tired of the goofiness. You know what I mean?
I almost say you probably like the vocals more here because of the way that the beat is laid out.
Yeah.
Serge's vocals is like his vocals and his voice are just traditionally and naturally Armenian based.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's exactly
it literally
what
fits
I said.
right in with how they're playing it.
Yeah.
This is one of the
Like,
few times where how he's singing actually does make sense musically with how it's being played.
Do you think him being Armenian, and I'm guessing English is his second language, and I'm guessing that being is more of why you get that kind of sound as well?
I don't think English is a second language because I think he was raised in LA.
Okay.
But they did go to
think-
Armenian schools and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
if I
they
remember
were
correctly,
raised-
Adam.
they-
Yeah.
Yeah, they went to Armenian schools and such, which is where they knew each other from. And I'm assuming he must have been in like choir or something because his knowledge of Armenian scales is unreal. But I mean, I think it's just kind of like how culturally, from place to place, voices genuinely just sound different.
Yeah.
And even just listening to like how I talk versus how you talk, and we're just a couple states away.
Absolutely,
it's just, I think, and it's not even all enunciation so much as it's literally like how your vocal sound can be determined based on the culture you're raised through, just because of how you learn to talk, who you're learning to talk through, so on and so forth. And I think that that's a part of the reason why he sounds so unique.
Yeah, he definitely has the accent. Obviously, it's funny. Like a lot of people will say when we have him on the podcast, like, "Yo, man, your accent is fucking crazy," and I'm like, I don't hear it, dude.
No.
Like I don't hear it at all, man.
No. Jimmy Ferrari, he's got an accent. He has the best accent ever. So we're coming off Jet Pilot. We're going to track number 5, 1 minute and 59 seconds X. And this is actually, keep me honest here, Adam, this is an older song. They were performing this live in 98 and 99 before it was actually put to record in Toxicity. I believe this is one of the older songs that they've written that it just never made. It didn't make it to the first album, but it made it to the second.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that to be a fact, but it wouldn't surprise me because, I mean, Chicken Stew was being performed before Self-Titled was out. So it wouldn't surprise me. And that's on the next record.
Pepperoni and green peppers, mushrooms, olives, chives.
Yeah.
This is my favorite riffs on the entire record. Great
Really?
riffing. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
The dirgy,
I like, I like it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny because they have a literal breakdown, but it's just it's weird hearing that they did 12 guitar tracks for everything.
Yeah.
And then they deliberately have parts where like, oh no, we're gonna make this sound borderline empty for this really heavy part.
Yeah.
That's such an interesting dynamic.
I was bouncing all over the internet, Adam, like reading Darren's rig rundowns, and it's really fast. Like I was telling Tim before you joined, on the next album, which is Mesmerize, there were a couple of was it?
Yeah.
Steel's album is next.
Steel's album, right? Which is actually Toxicity Part 2, but we'll talk about that. The next different album they did was Mesmerize. There were a couple of tracks where, instead of putting the amps in an empty room with sound padding and recording the amps, he was actually
acoustic guitars.
Yeah, acoustic guitars with the strings taped. It was a wall full of acoustic guitars, which is, I mean, that's the kind of studio stuff that I wanted to learn about, because it's not only is it nerdery, it's finding new ways to create old sound, right? It's like the Korn Life is Peachy, where they do that one riff at Adidas where it's a microphone hung in a fishbowl over a piano where the amp is on its back under the piano playing through the strings. So that's how they get that weird resonance.
Never knew that. That's
That's how they
insane.
go back and listen to Adidas and the bridge. There's that weird, almost ringing guitar sound. That's how they did it. The amp is on it's a Marshall on its back under a grand piano, and then above it is a microphone suspended from the ceiling in a glass bowl.
Yeah, it's sick.
But that's the kind of stuff like I'm fascinated by. I was also talking about how Darren plays that dual neck, Jesus, Jay, have another beer. The dual neck guitar. It's a 12-string on top and a 6 on the bottom, and he's playing the 6, but the pickups are actually the pickups he's grabbing is the 12-string. So it's the resonance that's coming up the body through the 12-string humbuckers as opposed to what he's playing on the 6-string. Like that sort of stuff, that's like really neat to me. And I've never played a guitar in my life. That's the nerdery that I get into, where you're finding new way. Like Tom Morello, like is the lazy example. Someone who finds a way to make new sounds over an instrument that's been around for ages.
Yeah.
Allen Keys on the
absolutely.
strings and shit. Yeah.
Yep. Which, by the way, I listened to that today on the way to the shore. It's still a fucking great album.
Evil Empire is an amazing record.
Yes,
He literally has leads that is just him taking out his input and just pressing it against his palms in different ways.
Right?
That's a lead. He literally I watched a live video because I was curious how he made those sounds, and the motherfucker unplugs his guitar. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
The best is when you see the tablature of that, Adam, and it's like take out input amp, just pound against like palm. So
it's very intuitive shit, you know.
Yeah, he gets crazy with what you can actually do with a guitar. So we're gonna come off of track number 5's X, track number 6, arguably one of their bigger songs. Chop
That's the
Suey,
most famous song.
3 minutes 31 seconds. This is the song where Rick Rubin has that quote when they got to the chorus. I don't know what it means, but I know how it makes me feel. I think that's a wild statement. Self-righteous suicide. I know that the song was taken off the radio once 9/11 happened. However, at that point, MTV already had the video, and they were just running with it full speed. And that's one of the other things that contributed to this band. This band's rather meteoric rise was MTV.
Mm-hmm.
I hate this song.
Why?
I can't stand that wake up shit. I hate that. And I'll tell you why too. My ex was a huge fan of this band and played it constantly, and it was always this song. It got played out to me real quick.
This song was really cool for me. This is actually the song I learned how to play 4/4 with offbeat snares. It has a dun 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 dun. That's like, this is the song I learned how to play that too. That part is insane to me, but I actually had it recently. Somebody had an idea as to what this song was about, and it's theoretically about a suicide bomber the day before he leaves for the mission. Which, when you look at what they're saying that way, it's like, oh, that's insane. I don't think you trust in my self-righteous suicide. And then, like, being on the mission and suddenly the why have you forsaken me, like, crying out to God as things go wrong or what have you. And it's totally different perspective on the song. But it's also one of those where I'm kind of in the same boat as Tim, where, like, the song, I love the song, but I've heard it so many times. And the song is so crazy that, like, I feel like a lot of the reason that it has so many plays is for the wrong reasons. Like, it's just people are like, oh, listen to this bad shit. Like, it's it's insane. But also there's like videos of like every time Serge says wake up.
I was just gonna ask you if you saw these.
There's one where it either starts over or he gets further off beat.
Yes. Wake up! Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Like, it's the whole song where he just keeps saying wake up. Oh, well, it's fucking great.
I haven't even seen that one. Literally every System of a Down meme video is off of that song. And anytime a new one comes out, like 17 people feel like they need to tell me about it. I've watched maybe 3 of them. I'm going to be honest. like somebody sent me one where like a big swing band did it, and I was like, I'm just gonna comment and say, "Whoa, funny," and not watch this because why do I care about this?
See, Adam, I love that stuff when the Mudvayne Berber Deng meme was a thing. There's all those ones on YouTube where every time they do the Deng, it speeds up, or every time they do the Deng, it slows down, and it actually turns Dig into this like stompy sludge metal song. I fucking love that stuff. Dude.
Yeah, that's great.
YouTube gives people who don't normally have any comedic talent the ability to become comedians.
I love that shit.
I also have a note here that this was I took it from a Darren interview. He actually wrote this in an RV when they were touring off the first album, which is rare for him because he doesn't normally write while they're on the road. But this one was legitimately written with an acoustic guitar in the lounge and in the RV, which is pretty interesting.
This song was why they thought they weren't going to be able to continue as a band for a little bit, because they put out this as the lead single for this album. And then the album comes out, and then a week later you have martyrdom happening in, the US. And they thought that that was going to be the end of their career. Because, I mean, we may have even touched on it the last time I was on here about how movie producers thought they weren't ever going to be able to put an explosion in a movie again.
Yeah.
That's how much this shook the earth here. And they thought for sure that they were going to get shut down, that the radio was going to stop playing them and so on and so forth. But it actually, because of the events, is kind of a big part of why it's gone triple platinum now, is because it was so relevant. And then, of course, you have a brand new war happening in the States. You have an attack on our land for the first time since Pearl Harbor.
Yep.
And that wasn't even domestic.
Yeah.
So it's that you have such a huge rise in political controversy and split down the middle of who believes in what. And then you have this band that's like very outspoken, very wild, and very good, and also in everyone's ears. And it just kept pushing higher and higher.
It actually kind of probably in a reverse or perverse way helped.
Mm-hmm.
It helped. So after Chop Suey, we get to one of the more interesting songs in the album, track number 7, 1 minute and 55 seconds, Bounce. So this is about an orgy. It's about an orgy, which is funny because it was actually used in a Disney movie, The Secret Life of Pets. So
I brought
Disney.
That up. I brought that up because it's such the perfect song for that moment of like, they leave and then the dog turns on the stereo and it's just immediately, and it's doing this. But I remember when that preview came out, and I said to whoever I was with when I saw it, I was like, that song's about an orgy. Like, that's hilarious that they're using this. Like, of all the songs in the world, they're like, oh, we'll use this. This is great. Because it's called Pogo, or it's called Bounce, and it just says Pogo over and over again. So kids will think it's hilarious. But then, like, that's one of those. It's funny because, again, Serge doesn't get that straightforward. This is a straightforward orgy song.
What did you think, Tim?
This is one of the tracks on here that I don't really care for. It's not bad. I just didn't really care for this one.
Too gimmicky for you, Tim?
Nah, I just don't like the song as a whole.
All right.
By the way, guys, the Penguins just lost in overtime. For some good news for you.
Good.
Adam is so happy right now.
I hope Sydney's crying.
So we're coming off of track number 7. We go to track number 8, Forest. 4 minutes and 1 second. So I have a note here that I hated this song when I first heard the album. I always used to skip this and the next song. And however, in hindsight, it's one of the better songs on the album. The plodding riff adds a contrast that makes it stand out.
I love this song.
It's a good song. It's written very well. I mean, Adam, arguably, this is a radio song. Like, they could have gotten away with throwing this thing on the radio. It's written well enough.
They could have, but I wouldn't choose it. For radio, I wouldn't choose it over,
Toxicity, Aerials.
Aerials. Well, actually, no, I just realized Chop Suey wasn't the lead single. Toxicity was.
Was it?
Actually, fuck, I don't know.
I have the notes here. Hold on one second.
What was the lead-off single?
Maybe it was. Now that I say that out loud, I'm like, wait, maybe it was Aerials.
Chop Suey is your lead.
Chop Suey in August. Toxicity in December. Aerials
September.
in June.
Yeah.
Toxicity in September. So it was August, September, and then Aerials in June. So they waited 6 months for the final single.
Yeah.
Okay, and Aerials was the one that finally like pushed. It seems.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say that too. This song is my favorite song on the record. Forest.
It is
Absolutely.
It's a good song.
It's such a well done. Every bit of it, like the verses constantly just starts off with it goes into that with even like a palm muted sub pattern of it, and then the verse is literally just a constant repetition of anticipation, build, anxiety, then it breaks, dun, 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 and it's just so bouncy and catchy. Yeah, exactly. Little yip at the end every time, and the actual like Surge sounds so good on this song.
Yeah.
Like
I love the chorus in this track.
Yeah, the why can't you see that you are?
It's
the
really
guitar
good.
crunch really lends to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like this track a lot.
You know who we haven't talked about as part of the band, which actually he's silent but very effective, Shabo the bassist. Like I think his bass stuff was more prevalent on the first album. It was higher in the mix. But on this album, it definitely adds that low end, and I think if it wasn't there, you would notice it, but it's so good that it kind of just blends into like John's drumming. It kind of just blends into the background where it's just it's a level of talent that you're expecting out of these guys. It's just like, okay, it's just that good.
I don't want to call it an afterthought because it's not, but it's one of those things where everything else happening around your bass instruments, such as drums and bass itself, everything else happening around it is so in your fucking face that you have to kind of, not only in the mix, but like you have to kind of look for it for the bass, because like it's just following the guitar. The guitar is not anything that's that hard to play. But there's beauty in that simplicity because they knew, we're going to play these straightforward things, and then we're just going to top it off. Like the cherry on top is going to be a very, a tie-dyed cherry that we pulled out of the sewer, and you're going to make the whole Sunday taste different, because Serge and Darren's whole vocal approach just changes everything about what would, without them, would just be a basic, like, I mean, this album is almost like metallic hardcore in parts to rock.
I would say that. Yep. What did you have here for Tim? This is one of your favorite songs, right? We're really happy.
It's my favorite song on the record. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So now let's skip ahead to track number 9, Atwa. ATWA, 2 minutes, 57 seconds. Draws its inspiration from Charles Manson and Charles Manson's belief on the environments. I think it's air, trees, water, and something or other.
Animals.
Darren, actually, I read an interview with Darren Malakian where he said, I don't excuse what Manson did or what his followers did, but some of his ideas around the environment and how we interact with our world around us are very forward thinking, and we should probably give them a fair shake. So I can deal with that. Again, my notes here is great bookend to Forest, fits really well with that sound. And then I said the harmonizing vocals in this song foreshadow what they're going to do with Mesmerize and Hypnotize, where you have Darren and Serge bouncing off each other, but sonically it works perfectly.
Also, this is probably the hardest that Darren ever sounded. Anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has really good drumming in this track as well. And it goes back to me saying this band would be nothing without the drummer. I think it's very prevalent in this track, his drumming.
Yeah, he nails it.
Yeah, very, very good in this one.
So going past Air, Trees, Water, Animals, we end up with track number 10, 2 minutes and 42 seconds, Science. What did you have here, Tim?
I love the intro riffs, and the chorus in this one's really good. I don't love the song, but I don't hate it either. It's got its moments.
I love this song.
See, I
really love this song.
Adam, I'm going to agree with Tim here. My notes here are good song, well written, good to listen to, but doesn't stand out for me.
So I don't understand how it doesn't, because the riff it has is like really one of the catchier riffs on the album. But
I will say this, Adam, in a step of dramatic foreshadowing, the next song to me is the best song on the album. So comparatively, I think that maybe Science gets lost on me because I think Shimmy is the best song on the album. So, Donya!
I mean, okay, it's probably one of my favorite like Surge deliveries. Let's talk about Science.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I just rebooted Adam.
That's awesome.
I'm just surprised at not seeing that this song stands out. Because again, it's just perfect execution.
Yes.
There's not too much of anything. There's not too little of anything. Anything that you're like yearning for, you get. And it's huge. Like even like the softer parts, which are aside from the bridge where it goes into the weird like clean guitar part, but like even the chorus, which has Surge singing kind of softly, is huge. Just bum bum bum, just big open notes.
But do you
then go ahead.
Compare it, Adam, to you just came off of Chop Suey, right? Bounce, the orgy song, Forest and Atla, which are two songs back-to-back that form great bookends. And then they throw in a song, like you said, is well-written, it's well-constructed, the music holds, but it doesn't jump out in my brain. It just doesn't. But I've also never heard Hypnotize, so I could be a little weird, so.
Yeah, he's only been 80% of the way through the journey, but, you know. I mean, I guess I can understand it not standing out amongst other tracks, but to say that the song itself doesn't pull its own weight, I feel like it's definitely not a filler track. And I get, you know, that was a very interesting song right before it, which is, I think that song itself could have been, if it hadn't have been about Manton, could have been a single. And, you know, I'm having trouble remembering how exactly Science starts.
How does it lead in? Single note riffing. Bing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that right there is that's the only song on the album that has any kind of callback to a song like that, because that's something you hear on Self-Titled.
Yes. That single note.
Only time that something like that happens on this album. But the thing is that you would hear that on Self-Titled and it would go into something completely different. But that speaks on how far Darren it came in those 3 years. Is it goes into this huge, like arena rock riff. Honestly, like the like that's a good riff, and then this song doesn't really calm down either.
And I will agree with you 110%. That riff is badass. That's a great riff.
But yeah, let's go to Shimmy.
Let's go to Shimmy, which I'm gonna say, for me, it's the best song on the album. Why? I love the guitar, the intro, and then they bring in the bass and the guitar, and then bring it on, yeah. Like you're right. It is truly this is a Surge showcase because he's doing all sorts of goofy shit. You know, don't be late for school again. Like, I love those growls that they throw in, which is one of the reasons why I love fucking Chicken Stew. Because they do, him and Darren do it, and then you hear Darren in the back go, and then they go right into the chunky guitar part. Just for me, and I'm looking at my play count here on Google Music, and this one I have 15, and every other song on the album I have 7. So it obviously is one of my favorites.
Well, it's also only 1:50, so it's a little
my ADD definitely helps. But yeah, I just, for me, to me it was the best song on the album. It's the most unique. It showcases all their talents, and it's just an enjoyable listen. That's my 2 cents. That's my hill, and I'm dying on it.
So this was actually the first song Orthodox ever covered.
No shit.
Yeah.
Adam, is there video of that anywhere?
No. This was like 2012,
Don't say no. There's
no way. I don't think I don't even think smartphones were barely even a thing then. It was like a small Halloween show at this shitty old venue in town. I don't think anybody gave enough of a fuck about us to pull a camera out at that point. We opened our set with that, and we've been talking about maybe doing it again because that song is fun.
I was just going to say, this is going to be the European release of the next Orthodox album. This will be the extra track you throw in, or the Japanese release. It'll be the cover that's buried in track 13.
No, my buddy Ben said if we ever do a System of a Down cover album, it's got to be called Orthodoxicity.
There you go.
Dude, that's perfect. Why wouldn't you do it? I know.
Because I can't. The level, there's just,
I don't know.
They're in standard. We're in drop B. There's just different ways that you just can't. You can get away with writing heavier music when you're lower tuned, like we are. Way easier for them to do what they did in the ways they did. It's just, I don't think I could do it under the microscope of a microphone.
Tim, I don't know about you, but I'm looking at Adam right now, and I picture him in one of those Cossack outfits that Serge used to wear with a wig and a big mustache, and I think it would work. Do a Halloween show where you just do it.
I would do a set. I would absolutely do a cover set.
That would be awesome.
But the difference is it's very loud, and if I mess up, I can just dance and smile, and it's fine. But if you're sitting in your room listening to this, you're gonna be like, this kid doesn't sound fucking anything like what he's supposed to.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of it. You're not supposed to sound exactly like.
I am a big fan of bands doing joke Halloween sets. I always go back to the Black Dahlia Murder where they did that whole show where they were dressed as Street Fighter. And Trevor came out dressed as Blanca. He was all covered green with an orange wig, and his glasses on. That's fucking awesome. I'm sorry. Bands that don't take themselves so seriously are the ones I truly enjoy because they're up there having a good time. And that comes through in the music.
Did you ever like A Plea for Purging?
That name rings a bell, but I always get them confused with Prayer for Cleansing.
Definitely not Prayer for Cleansing. Prayer for Cleansing was more on the actual metalcore side.
Yeah.
Plea for Purging was on the Scream the Prayer tours and things like that. They were a metal band. They got lumped into the deathcore scene even though they aren't at all.
Yep.
But their whole thing was their singer Andy is a very large dude, and he even did a podcast where he was talking about labels straight up wouldn't put them on because he was overweight, and they were like, we don't think that'll sell well because you're so big. So he was like, you know what, we're going to beat people to the punch. And they made their whole gimmick kind of making fun of themselves. And so one year, they're a Nashville band, and Andy's actually on the newest Orthodox record too. He does a part in the song The Presence if you ever want to hear it. But they came out and they did a Marilyn Manson cover set. That's sick. Andy, this huge dude, comes out dressed like Marilyn Manson. And they opened up with a spotlight hit the stage with nobody in it, and then their drummer Aaron gets up and you just start hearing and they covered The Beautiful People to start the set, and Andy comes out dressed like leather and pale makeup and a wig.
That's
and
awesome.
It was so sick. It was so sick.
Is there video of this?
I'm sure there is somewhere. It probably isn't that great quality because it was 2000.
I'm looking at them on YouTube. He's a big dude. He's comparable to the guy from Bent Life or the one guitarist. He's a big guy. That's hey, whatever. Do your thing. That's pretty fucking wild. I gotta check that out. Which, by the way, speaking of that, you want to talk about a monster guitar riff from a band that did not plan to make a monster guitar riff. That riff from Beautiful People is instantly recognizable. Adam, they might be from your neck of the woods. Do you remember the band Lords?
I don't think so.
They might be Kansas City. They might not be Tennessee. They might be Kansas. I've
not heard of it.
They did a punk cover of Beautiful People that fucking destroys it, and it is brilliant. And they also did a punk cover of, I think it was You Can't Bring Me Down by Suicidal Tendencies. And they're amazing. I'll send it to you. They're amazing. They were in the same vein as Breather Resist, if that jumps out at all. Adam, Tim, am I dating myself here? Do you remember that stuff?
A little bit, yeah. A little bit.
I'll find it and send it to you. They cover Beautiful People, and they fucking destroy it, and it is amazing.
Cool. Oh,
So
yeah.
where do we leave off? We left off
Shimmy.
on what I think is the best song on the album, Shimmy. So that takes us down to track number 12, one of the singles, Toxicity, 3 minutes, 39 seconds.
Where are you getting your track times at?
My
Wikipedia?
My Google library. Why am I shorting it or am I going?
Yeah,
long?
you're a little short. It doesn't matter. I was just curious.
What did you say it was?
I said it was 3:39.
It's 3:40.
Oh, what the fuck, man?
It's-
Really? You're gonna bust my fucking balls over
It's actually
This
3:38.
God
Jesus,
damn
there
it!
we go.
Yeah.
Wikipedia's wrong. There you go. Yeah.
Submit the edit, Tim. I have a note here that if they were going to release a single, this would be it. I mean,
This is one of the This
it
is a
hits all the
song.
notes.
This is a song you hear 3,000 times in 1 month when it was out, and it was just like, all right, I've heard it enough. I'm over it. You know what I mean? Not a bad track at all, though.
Disagree.
No, it's a great song. Like this is a
song.
well-written, good song.
Great
for
drumming.
any band. For any band, this is a good song.
Great drumming.
This
Yes.
song, absolutely great drumming.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. I mean, they literally, I think System of a Down is one of the best bands in the world of writing heavy riffs to follow soft, or to lead into or follow soft verses. Because the overall riff of itself is, like, the main riff of the song is the dun 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 dun. Like, it's very soft. It's very easy to listen to. And even the verses are really easy and like almost hypnotic sounding. It kind of sounds like you're listening through a wave, and it then just crunches into the it's incredible groove, incredibly well written. The drums match the guitar really well, and then the lyrics are very strange, but this is one of those where it's a very strange, like, kind of abstract, but still very obvious to tell what he talks about. And it's very prevalent today. The main line is, how do you own disorder? I mean, that's exactly, people talking about how, like, COVID has a copyright or a trademark or some shit. And, like, just the fact that people can capitalize off of death and, despair and, push the low lower down so the high has something else to step on. It's like that this song to this day rings so true, and it is so on the nose. It is incredibly well written. And also Serge just fucking crushes it. Just absolutely crushes the vocals on this.
Yeah, I mean, this is again, my notes are, if they're going to release a single, this should be it. It's just that he nails it from start to finish. It's a great song. So after Toxicity, we get a little weird again, which if you look at the track listing from the self-titled, they do like to throw in one of these fucking bonkers things close to the end of the album. The self-titled, it was Darts. On this album, it's Psycho, which is just psycho, groupie, cocaine, crazy. My note here is this portends the goofiness on the next album, where they bring some of that. And by next album, I mean Mesmerize, not Steal This Album, because it's kind of funny. It works, but it shows off their kind of quirky side where they just let themselves go and have fun with something. And my other note here was it's still an enjoyable listen. It's just very off the wall.
Yeah, I think one thing that bothers me about this song is it has such an easy opportunity for what would have been an incredible Darren Surge harmony, and they don't do it. The very end, the very last Psycho Groupie Cocaine Crazy, Surge goes Psycho Groupie Cocaine Crazy. Darren could have easily gone Psycho Groupie Cocaine Crazy, and it would have sounded perfect. Yeah. And they don't, and it just, I don't know why somebody would go, hey, you should do that, because like it even leads into this like ambient fluid like outro that's all like just soft rock, and I'm like, why wouldn't you like put that just leading out to it?
Seize on it. Yep.
Yeah.
What did you have, Tim?
Also,
go
ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna throw something back, so you go ahead.
I actually enjoy this track a lot. I think this is one of the highlights of the record, actually.
Well,
Which is surprising.
I wouldn't say lyrically it is, but it's
No. Song wise, it's one of the highlights for me of the record. It's got that drum groove in it that I really like.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What were you going to throw back, Adam?
Something we didn't mention before, just because we were talking now about like the goofy songs. We'd never talked about the breakdown at the end of Bounce.
Oh no, we didn't.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's a hardcore fucking breakdown if I've ever heard it, right? In an arguably new metal band, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that song, that part beats cheeks for sure. It is really hard.
Did you say beats cheeks?
Yeah.
That's
I got that one from our drummer Mike White. He got some interesting phrases.
That is
fantastic. That's great.
So let's take it home, gents. Track number 14, Aerials. 6 minutes and 11 seconds because it includes a hidden track, Arto, which is completely instrumental. It's a lot of more Armenian folk music type stuff. My note here was, okay, I'm done. That's all I wrote. But I think this is one of those songs where I've heard it so many times on the radio. It's well written. It's a quieter song for them. It does well on the general populace. If you're going to put it on the radio, it makes sense. But it just doesn't. It's a radio song to me.
I think out of all their singles, this is their best one, single-wise.
Really?
Yeah.
If you're looking at like radio singles, yeah, I would say. If you're like for most approachable, I'm trying to think of who this song reminds me of Machine Head.
Really?
Yeah.
Like,
why?
What's the one song that everyone? Fuck, what is it called?
Davidian?
Gonna sound like. Hold on, just let me.
Is it something from their new metal record or?
It's like a heavy ass start. What song is it?
Well, yeah. Well, Jay would be right. Davidian would be one of their most popular.
It'd be Davidian. It'd be old. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Davidian.
Maybe that's Davidian.
Yeah.
Like the dun 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 dun.
Okay, I can see that.
Oh yeah,
it reminds me kind of like that.
With
feel.
more of like the melodic parts to it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
That's,
I know what you're saying now.
Yeah, I literally you said that. I just like listened to it. I'm like, actually, this is way fucking heavier than my brain was telling me it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, that song. I can understand because you guys were listening to this on the radio when it came out. I was 8 years old, so I wasn't really listening to that at the time. But
you were 8?
Yeah.
God damn. How old are you again?
I'm 27.
That's okay.
Oh my God, Tim, we're so fucking old. Adam was 8.
Jesus Christ.
Adam was 8. I was 23.
I was 19. Yeah. I was
Holy
19.
shit.
Holy shit, dude.
I was already. Oh my God, we lived the whole life up to that point. But it is. I mean, it is a good song. It makes sense to do it as a single, and I really think. I know we're not going to cover the album, the Mesmerized, Hypnotized, but I really think they got away with some of that insanity on those albums because they cemented themselves as a productive, talented band with Toxicity and Aerials and Chop Suey, right? So that gave them the breathing room to go a little bit more nuts with the it's a nonstop disco. Bet you it's a Nabisco. Bet you didn't know. Woohoo! Right? Like
violent pornography.
Yep. Choking chicks and sodomy. Yep.
Oh yeah, that's Mesmerized territory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, go on, Adam.
I think Aerials is the perfect ender to the record because like it encompasses. It's almost like you've got this. It's weird that it comes after Psycho. And if it was my album, I would have transitioned it better because it starts off with like the string section and all that. And that part's beautiful. It sounds incredible. But I feel like it would have been better service if you had swapped. I would have swapped Psycho with Science. And actually, I would have done Psycho, Shimmy, Science, Toxicity, Aerials.
That would have worked. That really would have worked.
It's funny you say that because I have notes written at the end of this. Like the track listing for this record is very weird to me because of how the singles were. You kind of had like one at the beginning, one in the middle, and then one at the very end, which is weird to me because most bands do not do that. Because especially like if you listen to like Follow the Leader, like that in that realm, you kind of get most of your singles right in a row. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the listener is continuously punched in the face with what they're hearing on the radio. It's just weird to me. Then, I mean, whoever thought of this, they did a good job because the record is a fucking monster. So I mean, it worked either way.
I would actually. You're talking about punching in a row. So when we put singles out, or when we put, track listings together, I almost prefer to put singles towards the back. Because I don't want people to like listen to what's familiar and be
the
like,
first
I've
three
heard
songs and then check out. No, I get it. That makes sense. Yeah.
But putting things in a row is not necessarily a bad thing. I think now that I'm actually like talking to myself about it, we're going to throw a total wrench in the works here. I would swap Science and Chop Suey. Make Science track 6. And then do the other swap I did to where it goes Atwa, Shimmy, Psycho, Toxicity, Chop Suey, Aerials.
That would have been interesting.
Because you still get that little push of energy before the ending. Because you don't want to have it be almost like 2 separate EPs where one is just soft at the end. So Chop Suey is really crazy and like in your face, but it ends in the when angels deserve to die, and like fades out that way, and it ends on a fade, which then lends you the opportunity to fade in the strings for Aerials. That's what I feel like I would have tried. That's just the only criticism I have of that song, because like it was one that I didn't like that much until I really appreciated the band, because I appreciated the band for other reasons to start. And that song is like, oh, it's the radio hit because it doesn't really do anything nuts, but like the song itself is so simple, but there's no point in listening to it where you're like, I mean, maybe now years down the line, but when you're first listening, you're not like bored of it at any point. You're just like, wow, this is really driving and really well written, and it just sounds so pleasant. And it's so like the vocal push of it is just so like Tim said, so curious. Said that earlier about just the band being a very curious band, and I'm like, yeah, that's actually a really well put way of it, because it's da 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 da, then it jumps lower, da 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 da. Like it's a very like a climbing, falling, but still encompasses all the same idea, and you really feel exactly how they want you to feel it.
Almost like classical music, how it's structured with chord progression, right? Like it's written in a very, I don't want to say intelligent, because that would imply that the other stuff that they've written isn't intelligent, but it's written in a classicist interpretation of some of the stuff that they make.
Which is funny because literally Psycho is the same note for the whole entire verses. Psycho groupie, cocaine crazy, psycho groupie, go. Like it's just the same note for every word, and then you go to this one where it's just very intricate.
So. I think Tim's feelings where he realized that he really enjoys this album shows that there was a demonstrable increase in skill and talent with these guys when they went to this album. I believe we would be remiss if we didn't mention Steal This Album, which is basically Toxicity 2. So again, when they recorded 33 songs and mixed 17. I think 14 ended up on the final album. The remainder of the album, the remainder songs were leaked in bad quality onto, I must have been Napster or LimeWire at the time. Band came out and said, hey, those were all songs that we wrote. They're complete. However, they didn't fit the continuity of the album, so we left them off. And then they ended up releasing it as Steal This Album, which is their unofficial but official third album. And Adam, I know you're a fan.
Went platinum.
Yeah, which is crazy. I actually think some of the songs on this album are some of the better songs they've written. So Intervision is great. Boom is great. ADD, American Dream Denial, is fantastic.
ADD, New Guns, Bubbles, Roulette.
Yep.
Chicken Stew is very odd. They opened with Intervision when I saw them.
And that's one of their best songs.
They had no sample, no build, no crazy light show, nothing. They walked on the stage, Surge and everyone waved, and then like went right into it.
It's a well-written rock song. It's like a well-written rock song. I think IEO. I actually really enjoy that song. Like, I think it's a lot of fun. Mr. Jack is good. Like you said, Roulette.
Fuck the System, Ego Brain.
Yeah, I mean,
Fade Away is a little out of there, but it's
Tim, if
awesome.
you liked Toxicity, you might actually like this. These are the songs that were really good but not good enough to go on the album because they didn't fit the continuity. I actually think if you listen to this, you'd say, okay, well, take I don't know, take fucking Bounce off of Toxicity and put Intervision, or take off Psycho and put in Highway Song, right? There are some songs that are legitimately interchangeable, and they are really that good.
Yeah, I'll listen to it.
I think that, I mean, the continuity of the album Toxicity, like, those songs definitely fit as a piece perfectly, but it's funny because, like, Steal This Album fits within itself perfectly, and it's 16 songs. So, like, it's crazy how I think they unintentionally paired two albums and didn't even realize it because they were only focusing on the one. But, man, I mean, I'd say Steal This Album is almost like the culmination of the stronger dynamics that you have of System of a Down and Toxicity, like, paired together. The only thing it's lacking is those big radio sync. Like, that's the thing that I think they definitely drew away, is they don't have a Toxicity or a Chop Suey or a or an Aerials on Steal This Album. There are songs that, like, were with that in mind. They just weren't as good, or as the projects just didn't start on the right foot. But there's definitely some really, really good songs in there. And there's also some songs in there that you can tell were written before the self-title because it's same subject matter as, like, Soil and Devil. So it's a really cool, really, really cool album. And then whenever you get done with that, here's more homework. You got to listen to Mesmerize and Hypnotize. And I know it's a lot. It's I think it's 23 tracks, but it is meant to listen song 1 to song 12 of 1 of Mesmerize to 12 of Hypnotize, because it is literally a continuance. It starts with Soldier Side intro and ends with Soldier Side song.
I will go that far ahead, Adam, and say I do like Mesmerize. Like, when I went back and listened to it, I'm like, I mean, old school Hollywood, and I think Lost in Hollywood as an album closer is actually pretty perfect. But I read a couple of interviews with Darren Malakian where he talked about how he wrote 90% of this album, and he admitted, he said, I'm a homebody. When I'm not touring, I want to be home. I want to be in my house. I want to rip bong hits, and I want to just write music. And he talked about how, you know, it was just a natural progression for them where he started to do most of the singing and Serge added the harmonies. And so apparently Serge was cool with it, and it actually worked on this album, right? Like, when I think of, like, BYOB is great, Cigarro,
Question is probably my favorite song on
I don't remember that one. How does that one go?
That's the single. That's the do we know when we fly?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. That has the best harmony of Darren and Serge, I think, ever.
Yeah.
But that album's really good. I actually have lyrics from This Cocaine Makes Me Feel Like I'm on the song tattooed on me. It's like I can't get my fucking forearm in this, but it's the face mask from Hannibal Lecter. And it says "Killers never hurt feelings," and that's lyrics from that song. But
we should just do a Hypnotize, Mesmerize dive.
I mean, that's one of the other things about when Darren writes the lyrics as opposed to Serge. They're more obtuse when Serge writes them. With Darren, I mean, we're going to go back to Keith Buckley. They're way more metaphorical. Where if you read through them, you can get closer to what he's trying to say. It's a nonstop disco, betcha disco. Yeah. Like,
reading, well, you can tell when it's Serge because there's, like, the song Dreaming is a collab of them both. Where the hook is dreaming of screaming, someone get me out of my mind. I hate these thoughts I can't deny. very like Motownish. Darren even says that he was listening to a lot of Motown when he wrote that. And you can kind of, if you take out the context of the genre that's being played, it even kind of sounds like it. But like the opening, I have the lyrics. The opening literally talks about like America's private blue chip bought, we're the generation of bottled water. And it's like very odd, politically abstract that like, you're like, oh, this was definitely Surge. And I forgot that they have these crazy.
And it's left enough to center that it's weird, but your lizard brain almost picks up on it and says, okay, I know where he's going with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He says, for today, we will take the body parts and put them on the wall. We're treated indigenously, human right is private blue chip pry. We're the prophetic generation of bottled water causing poor populations to die. It's like, oh, that's Serge Tankian 100%. Like,
Yep.
And then it ends in Dreaming of Screaming, which also, just to put an asterisk on the song for you, Dreaming is probably one of the craziest songs, like structurally, for System of a Down, because of how it starts and where it ends, and the fact that it's so seamless. Like, it starts off with like a bumblebee riff and like crazy drums and searching, and then it ends up in a literal blast beat. It's technically a Euro blast because it's offhand, but it's a fast fucking part. And then it ends in like a really catchy like duet singing. And the fact that there's not even a moment in the song where you feel out of place, it's insane.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to do a Hypnotize, Mesmerize, Steal This Album deep dive. We'll schedule that one for a month out, because I gotta get away from System of a Down for a bit. So before we wrap it up, guys, I just want to go around the horn. Any recent albums that have come out? I know the coronavirus has put a fucking dent in new release schedules. I want to ask both you, Tim and Adam, what are some of the stuff that's come out recently that you've been listening to that you want to pass along to the listeners? I'm going to start with you, Mr. Anderson.
New metal wise, I think people should check out a band called Zone Zero. They're out of Ohio.
That's good.
Very, very good. If you like new metal and you like what new metal was getting into, you'll love this band.
Where are they? What part of Ohio?
Columbus.
I feel like I played with them.
They're very good, man. I was very impressed with that band.
Yeah, it's good. Tim passed it along. It's good.
It's very good. I'm gonna go into my latest Apple Music thing while we're bullshitting about this.
So while you guys are looking, the new releases for me that stand out, obviously it's Gulch and Impenetrable Cerebral Fortress. That's really good. Another album which I think everybody should fucking listen to, is the newest Defeat Insanity, The Sanguinary Impetus. This is the, if you really enjoyed Canderia's Surrealistic Madness, same guitar tone, same jazzy influence. It's just replaced the hardcore with brutal death metal, and that's what you got. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
The band I was thinking of,
Stone's good too.
Yes.
That band kicks ass.
Yeah, they're good, really fucking good.
I've never like really listened to them, but I've seen them on 2 occasions, and both times I was like, "Ooh, this is hot."
I'm interviewing them the 20th.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
They're really good.
We got Boundaries Wednesday. Thank you.
I was gonna ask,
is it this Wednesday? It's this Wednesday, right?
Yeah, this Wednesday. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, Matt's cool, man.
Matt's the shit. I absolutely love Matt.
Yeah, he's cool, man.
A very close
thank you
friend of
for
mine.
that.
Yeah, happy to do it. The band I was thinking of that's also from Ohio, I don't know which part. You should listen to them because we played a show with them, and it was one of those things where, like, opening band of a show, you never know if it's going to be like really bad or it could be pretty cool. This band literally pulled every band in the tour package out of the green room to like go watch because of how hard they riff. They're called Subtype Zero, and it's like a crossover band. Okay. And it is wild.
Yep, writing it down.
Yeah, they're badass. But lately, new releases. I really like the new Acacia Strain album.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
It's so unbelievable. That band, I don't understand how they continue to get heavier. It is just unreal. But they also, I'm pretty sure this is one of the Well, they put out the like doom-ish record. It comes in waves, and I think Tom Smith helped write some of that. But this was like his first Acacia Strain album.
Yeah.
And you can hear a lot of that, but also you can hear that he was like a fan, because there's a lot of stuff on it that like could have been on like The Dead Walk and like Wormwood and things like that, which is so sick.
And you're right. It Comes in Waves was one of my favorite releases by them. Yeah, it was very good.
Their passion
they've come
project.
full circle.
Yeah.
They've come full circle to the point where they've returned to, you know, a lot of bands says, oh, this makes me think of our first album. No, they didn't make that statement, and yet they have come full circle. So like you said, Adam, it's back to Wormwood, The Dead Walk. Yeah.
Aside from that, 30 Nights of Violence.
Very good.
You'll see me up there. God, it blew. I mean, I am fortunate enough to be friends with those guys. I got to hear it months before it was out, and the whole time listening to it, I'm just like, dude, this is so next level. It is unreal.
It's in my top 10 EPs of the year.
Yeah, it's up there for me.
Yeah, definitely.
I just realized that I actually I started like saving album art so I could remember what I liked so much this year. So I already said Acacia Strain, 30 Nights of Violence. I may have mentioned Havoc's record last time, but Havoc's 5 or V, whatever you want to say, is
rips.
Absolutely insane. And Owen. So Owen is Mike Kinsella, the singer for American Football's solo project.
Okay.
He's like the first thing I ever got into that was like super soft and like could lull you to sleep and kind of things like that. And he put out a new album called The Avalanche, which is really good.
Oh, I'll check that out.
I was telling Jay before, the new Static X record is fucking incredible.
Yeah, it's not. I gotta be honest, it's not bad.
Dude,
it's
so
I
fucking
am
good.
saving that right now because I didn't realize the whole thing was out.
It's called Project Regeneration.
Volume. Oh, it's Volume 1, which means maybe there's more.
We're
the
getting
one where
more.
they got Wayne's stems, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sick.
It's fucking incredible. I can't stop listening to it.
I'm looking at what else I grabbed that's new.
The new Bury Tomorrow, really good. They're a band out of the UK. That's really good. Very surprising. It's it's a typical metalcore band, but it's really good. I was also very surprised with the new Amity Affliction record. They have that popish stuff. Yeah, it's pretty good though. I actually enjoyed that record a lot. This one's going to surprise you guys. The newest Bush record, Bush Glycerine and all that shit. Very good rock record, man.
Yeah,
if you like rock, if you like radio rock, that's a very good record. The new Paradise Lost, if you like doom, really fucking good. The new Spirit World record out of Nevada, holy shit. That stuff is fucking
I just came across a band out of Nevada. I think it's Vegas. Despair, maybe? That was really good. I actually bought it off Bandcamp. I got to find it.
Despair.
Did you?
When I think Despair, I think of fucking...
It's probably the wrong name. Tim, did you check out that new Kardashev album?
Yes. Yeah, it's
fucking
incredible.
Adam. Fucking brilliant, dude. Brilliant.
What is it called?
Kardashev, The Bearing of Shadows.
Yeah, check that out. It's
so good.
It's really good.
It's amazing. What else do I got here? The new Zabalba is obviously really good.
We're on Wednesday, Jay. You're gonna be with us. We're interviewing Brian McTiernan.
He's a
DC,
big
producer,
right?
for he was in Battery.
Yeah, Battery. That's it. He did all the Darkest Hour albums.
He's a huge producer. Yeah, his new band Be Well. The new record.
It's great. It's great.
It is.
The songs are great.
It is, Adam. If you like, do you like Bane?
Yeah.
Dude, if you like Bane and shit like that, this record is absolutely incredible. Like one of my favorite records of the year. It's really fucking good, man. The new Lawrence Arms record, really good.
I'm going to correct myself. The album I was talking about is A Fantasy Can Be Deadly by the band Dredge.
Dredge.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Dredge.
it's fucking great.
Yeah.
And
they've been around forever. Yeah.
I still can't stop listening to that new 156 Silence album. I think it's my album of the year.
Oh, that is really cool. How did you guys like Daughters?
Oh,
you know what?
Yeah,
I liked
very
it.
Different. Yeah.
They're I expected going in I was going to get a little bit of headache, so I liked it. It was good.
The new Crow Killer, sick.
I don't know if it's this year, but the new Ether Coven, is that this year?
Yeah, that came
Everything
out
is
this year.
temporary except suffering.
Yeah.
Awesome. If you like Mean Pete, I fucking love Mean Pete. If you like him doing doomy, sort of really heavy hardcore, it is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay.
My surprise album of the year didn't come out this year. The new Korn record is phenomenal. Thank you.
Really?
That is a phenomenal
welcome.
record. Dude, it's really good.
Did you not re-listen after the last episode?
No, I did. I listened to it
I know
like
you
5
did. Did we
times.
talk about it on this one, or was it just on Ill Street?
No, we talked about it on Ill Street and the last episode you were on for here.
Yeah. You know what? I remember it not being too bad.
It's really good, man.
What else do I got here?
Incredible.
Cruelty from Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heavy.
It's just fucking heavy.
Mortality Rate released
Yes.
like a re-release of Sleep Deprivation that's like remastered and all that, and that band,
That
Jeff,
last
their
EP they
singer,
did was sneaky awesome.
You Were the Gasoline?
Awesome. Yes.
Oh my god, I loved that. It was so heavy,
If
so
you like
angry.
if you like death metal, black metal shit, there's this band. They're called Guerrilla. Album's called Limbo. Really fucking good.
Okay.
Did either one of you guys check out what do I got here? The new Rotting Out. What did you think?
I loved it.
I thought it was good.
I loved
I'm
it.
not really
normally
into that band.
His vocals are hit or miss for me, but I really liked it. That, and obviously the new Drain is fucking great.
New Drain's
He's
awesome.
a lunatic. Sammy is an absolute lunatic.
Sam, it's funny because that dude is. I mean, he plays drums in Gulch too. And
Is he singing Hangman?
literally.
No,
that's Long Island.
Oh yeah, that's right.
No, Sammy's quite literally one of the nicest people I have ever met.
He's always
Like,
smiling. He's
so
always smiling.
happy and so it's like the embodiment of a Labrador Retriever in a person. Like he is just so kind. And I booked them here in Nashville when they were on tour with Rhythm of Fear, and the show did pretty decent. I was able to pay them like a couple $100, and he was just like, "Dude, are you sure you want to give us all of this?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, dude! What are you talking about?" He's like, he was like, "I can't believe like." He was just so appreciative and like so happy to like be there, and like just watching that band, he just has such a blast.
Do you think,
it's
Adam,
so cool,
it's
like,
because he's from Southern California where the weather is always nice and he puts you in a good mood? Do you think?
I mean, I don't know. It's called California Cursed, so you know. I'm not sure what his take on it is, but he's definitely it definitely doesn't hurt that you don't have to have a winter, you know.
True.
Yeah, right.
I'll tell you what, you guys, the shirt I'm wearing right now, the Anoint the Sick, drummer of Sky Came Falling, if you remember them.
Yep.
Right, dude, get their new EP. It's really fucking good, man. If you like Sky Came Falling and all that shit, it's really good. Long Island stuff, it's good, man. Check it out.
I'm gonna throw out shout out to Chris at Machine Man. I'm getting fucking tired. Varicella's put out a couple of singles lately. It's really good. There's a band on Machine Man Records called Decent News. So they did an album called Monolith, which is like serious industrial. And then they did a remix album right on the back of that, which was really good. That Full of Hell single, The Language of Molting Cherubs, is really good. I'm trying to look what else I got here.
I got one for you guys.
Shoot.
So not a very known band at all, but it's like a Nashville legacy band. They were called Alert the Sky.
Okay.
And they hadn't been a band for like 8 years maybe. They just put out a new single called Cult of Man. And when they put that out, they put their final 2 EPs, which are called Finale and Nashville, on Spotify for the first time. So it's the first time it's been like readily available since MySpace. Wow. Yeah, no, I said that correctly. And the Cult of Man song is really cool, but it's almost more exciting for me just to have those songs there, because it is straight up some of the coolest blending of metalcore and hardcore. And I mean, it's written like they were getting paid to do it. Like, it is really good stuff. It's just called Alert the Sky.
I'm going to put that in my thing there right now.
And I know we're quickly getting way over on time. So, Adam, once again, I want to thank you for joining in. I hope this has been fun for you. It was really wild to deep dive into System of a Down. We're obviously going to have you back when we do the Hypnotize, Mesmerize, Steal this album.
I love this. This is literally him at the last time we talked about it. He's like, oh, I'm going to fucking kill myself over this fucking Toxicity deep dive. And now by the end of this, he's like smiling like, yeah, we should do a Mesmerize, Hypnotize one. That'd be great.
Let's do it. It'll be a good conversation. So, Adam, once again, thanks for joining us. On behalf of Tim, myself, and Adam, I want to thank all of our listeners. If you like what you hear, subscribe. Find us on Facebook. We got shit all over the place. Let's interact. Let's talk. If there's a topic you want to hear, if there's a band you want to deep dive into, if you want to get involved, we're going to do a random deep dive where Tim and I are going to pick an album name, a new metal band, an album name out of a hat. We're going to deep dive on it. So if this sounds like something you'd be interested in, please reach out and let us know. We would love to have you on. I don't care who you are. We just want a conversation. So once again, on behalf of Tim, Adam, and myself, I want to thank all of our listeners for listening, and we will catch you next episode.
Awesome.